We need to talk about tires for the Talaria Sting MX5. And I decided to make a video of it because I have the ground wire, we have the stock tires, and I have the Shinko 244 on another bike of mine. So we've got my MX5. This is a great little bike, and the stock tire is a nice width. I like how wide it is. It's actually wider than the ground wire, so this one's a decent, it looks like quite a bit wider than the ground wire, even though, let's see, what do these say? This is 80-90-19, and this one's 80-100-19. So it is just a little bit wider. So those are interesting. And I thought the stock tires were okay, but they really didn't do a great job when you're climbing. They were very slippy, and I put about 200 miles on these, and you can see it's just tore up. Let's try and find a section that was pretty ripped up. Like right here, you can see they're just it's just ripping, it's chunking a little bit. I had some gashes in it. There's a gash over here that's not great. Anyway, this is what the stock tire looks like when it's all the way to the top. The front tire didn't really wear down. The rear tire is about halfway down. And as you can see, the ground wire has much bigger knobs. These lugs are massive, and the gap between it is pretty big. Generally, when you have a wider gap, that's better for mud because mud doesn't get stuck in here as much with the centrifugal force. It'll just kick itself out. Whereas with the Shinko 244, you've got quite a bit more meat on the tire, but you've got smaller gaps in here, so the mud's going to stick in here. It's not as good of a mud tire or maybe a sand tire. So I'm going to run with the ground wires for a little bit because it seemed like a more aggressive tire. I really didn't realize how thin it was, and we've got quite a bit of space between the tire and the chain. We could get a decently wider tire here, but these were only like $45 per tire. So I thought it might as well give it a shot, see what it's like. And I was a little confused about the inner tubes as well, because this was 80-90-19, and the front, what was the front? Yeah, the front's a 70-100-19. So the inner tube was a 70-100-19, and both front and rear. So I just used that. I used the same inner tube for both front and rear, and it should be great. So that's what I did. And I don't really have a conclusion for you. I don't know which tire is better, but that's what the tire looks like. So when you compare these between each other, this Shinko 244, I haven't been super impressed on loose gravel. It tends to feel more like a road tire. Like it grips a little bit, but it's not really grippy. I definitely expect this one to hook up a lot more. I expect the ground wire to hook up quite a bit more than the Shinko. But, I may go for a Shinko 244 or a 241, or even get a tire that's quite a bit wider. And then, I see a lot of people shaving them down so they can get a really fat tire on here. I was actually just really surprised at how thin the ground wire was. But, those are the differences between the two tires. So if you're looking between one tire and another, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I think it really just depends on your style. These are pretty rough on the street. So when you're riding these on the street, you're going to feel it. It's going to be quite a bit pretty bumpy. These are bumpy and quite noisy as well, the Shinko 244s on the street, but they're a lot nicer. So if you're riding street like 50-50, you may just want to go for the Shinko 244s. But if you're mostly off-road like me, maybe you want something a little bit more aggressive. Or maybe it's just your riding style. You're thinking, hey, I don't mind if I don't have great traction on the road, but once I get off-road, I need to have as much traction as possible. Then you may want to go for a more aggressive style. Or, if you need to scoop the sand and you've got a really sandy environment, really, sharp rocky environment or whatnot, you may need something a little bit different. The Shinko does really well on the rocks. As far as I've tested it, it's been really great. When it doesn't hook up is when it's really, you got that loose top soil, maybe sand or mud. It just doesn't do as well as a tire like this. So Gonna try the ground wires. Let me know what you think. I think they look pretty cool. They're definitely way more aggressive than the stock tires. I'm really excited about the front too. The front would wash out pretty easily with the stock tires. So we'll see. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.